Hey everybody, so welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to talk about something that I've been really thinking about filming for quite a while. Since I had my son Jackson, I've been wanting to talk about this for some time. I talked about it a little bit in a previous video, but it is breastfeeding. So if you saw that video, you would know that I had a C-section with my son. The doctors, I didn't go into labor, and the doctors were concerned because his heart rate kept dropping. And so they said we need to do a C-section. So I don't know if it was that or, you know, just because I wanted to bond as much as I could. But I felt like breastfeeding was one of our strongest ways to bond because I did not deliver vaginally, or I did not deliver, you know, the typical way. It was through C-section, so I didn't, you know, get to experience the thrill, the joy of, you know, him being born that way. So I'm going to talk about breastfeeding. It was hard, and I struggled, and I was worried, and I was so concerned. And we breastfed for about 7 months, and then he stopped. He was done. He wasn't having it anymore. And I really wasn't ready. I was really upset. It took me a few months to get over it, actually. And, you know, it would cause a lot of arguments between my husband and I, because it's hard to explain to him, or, you know, it's hard to explain to somebody that bond that a mother wants with her child. I don't know, maybe it's just me too. That bond I wanted with Jackson was cut off before I was ready to, so I was having trouble dealing with that. But, you know, I want to do everything I can to help other moms, other women out there. So we'll just get into my tips and tricks on breastfeeding. So I still have all my stuff here. This is actually, I think, a diaper bag. But this is what I use for like my breastfeeding pumping kit. I am missing one thing. Okay, so if you're able to breastfeed, you know, some women are not, some they cannot produce milk for whatever reason, and you know, that is completely fine. You are not a failure. You are a mother. You have given life. So if you cannot breastfeed, then no shame. Do not feel bad about yourself. You know, it's just how your body is, what you were meant for. But if you are able to breastfeed, just stick with it. It's going to be really hard. It's going to be tiresome. It's every 2 to 3 hours, and it is exhausting. And you feel like all that you do is pump and breastfeed and pump and breastfeed. So when you first give birth, the breast milk that comes out is colostrum, I think. Yeah, colostrum. And so it's like thick yellow, and it is like the first milk that you're gonna produce. And then once your mature milk comes in, then it'll be a lot more. So yeah, just when your mature milk does come in, it's gonna hurt probably. It's gonna make your breasts rock hard, and it's gonna be a little uncomfortable. And you know, some women leak, some don't, so just be prepared for that. So let me see if I even have it in here. Okay, so I'm not sure if all hospitals are like this, but the hospital where I gave birth gave me this nipple cream, and it's supposed to help with sore, cracking nipples, because it really, for me, it really hurt. And I know a lot of other women, a lot of other mothers struggle with nipple pain during breastfeeding. And I think it's called lanolin, like sheep's wool, lanolin. And it's like a really thick paste almost, and you just need like a tiny bit. I'm sorry I don't have it with me. I don't know where I put it, but you just need like a really small bit, like a pea size, and you put it on your nipples and you it feels so funny. You put it on there and you just kind of rub it on the sore, dry, raw areas, but you don't want to put too much because the baby will taste it if there's too much on there and they will not feed. But there's also another cream that helps with dried crackedness, and I believe it's called Mother's Love. I used all of that up, and that is like a light gel. I'll put a picture of both those products, and I mostly used the Mother's Love gel. I believe it's organic and there's not as strong a taste. But the lanolin I think works a little bit faster with my experience. Also, I believe the hospital gave me these soothing gel pads. So they're supposed to be like cool gel. I don't think you can put them in like the fridge or the... Oh no, you can put them in the refrigerator, and you can put them on there, and that'll help. So if you don't have some of that and you are planning to breastfeed, or you're currently breastfeeding and you're looking for some help with that, look for lanolin or Mother's Love cream and the soothing gel pads. And I'm trying to think what else for to help with pain. That's about all I used. So yeah, it'll be every 2 to 3 hours depending on how often the baby wants to feed. And it's gonna be so tiresome and you're gonna want to sleep so bad. But it gets easier. It definitely gets easier. So when I had to go back to work, when I had to go back to work, my son was 3 months old, and so I had a pump while I was at work, and that's why I bought my bag so I can store my pump in there. And because I'm in the military, I was so fortunate to get this pump through insurance, through my medical insurance. But I've heard a lot of the women choose the Medela. So this is the Even Flow pump, and it's pretty simple. You can put batteries in it, or you can just plug it into the wall, which I just plugged it into the wall. I brought my cord everywhere and I just plugged it into the wall. So it's really simple, just 4 buttons. One is for the strength of the suction and the other is for the frequency, if that makes sense. And then the bottles go right in here, and this is what the bottle looks like. So you can use a phalange, I don't even know if that's the right word for it, a cover, and then you have this part that the tubing hooks up to. So this piece fits into the machine, into the thing, and then this cap goes on here, and then you just have that come out like that. And inside the bottle is this, and I'll show you better. So these parts are really important, and you can buy these separately too. I believe the Medela version is pretty similar. It's pretty much the same. So you have this part, and then you have this membrane, and if you don't have the membrane hooked up properly, if it's broken or if it's not sealing against this, you're not going to get great flow. You're not going to have as much, I don't even know how to explain it. It won't be as similar to when you're breastfeeding the baby. So just make sure this piece is working properly. It's not ripped, it's not like on sideways, it's not stuck, folded up. and that it's staying pretty much shut. So that is the machine, and this is electronic, if that wasn't obvious. And then you can even use a manual pump, and I bought the Medela manual pump, and that's what this looks like. So it's similar, similar concept, bottle, this piece, the membrane, and this. But this one, obviously, you just hand express. So you hook it up and you just use your hand to... I will say that this one hurts a lot more than the electronic one or the mechanical one. But this is really awesome if, for example, you're on a long road trip and you can't pull over, or you're the one who has to drive and you can't pull over every 2 hours to feed the baby. You can pump and go. And then one thing that I had to get, I mean, I'm sure a lot of women have one too, a lot of breastfeeding moms, is this bra type thing. So it helps you be hands-free when you're pumping. So you just put this on like a regular bra, and obviously those holes are for the little nursing openings, and you just plug in your pieces like that. And so you can be hands-free when you're mechanically, electronically pumping, and you're not there holding the bottles up to yourself. I got this on Amazon. I think it was really cheap, and it's really stretchy and really comfortable. I got this in a size large. Excuse the dirtiness. It's been sitting in this bag since we stopped like 5 months ago. I need to wash it. So I got this on Amazon, and it's been my holy grail breastfeeding piece, breast pumping piece. And then, so that's why I like this bag, because you can keep everything right in here and you're always ready to go. Obviously for cleaning purposes, you want to either boil all those pieces, including the membrane, including the little piece that goes in there, or steam them with a, you can get like a little steam sterilizer from Babies R Us, I think. And then for me, when I was pumping, I always had a refrigerator to store the milk in, so I just used the milk bag. There are breast pumping bags that I think have like lining to keep things cool, so you don't you don't have to refrigerate for so long. And these bags have measurements on there, so you know, okay, this hour I pumped this much. My goal is to get to the next line or whatever. So you have these in your bag and you're good to go. Now, to enhance breast milk production, there's a lot of things you can do. Number one thing I think every breastfeeding mom takes is fenugreek. These little tablets. They're just, I think you can get them kind of anywhere. And they smell like maple syrup. Another thing that I got that really actually helped a lot was this product by Birth Song Botanicals. It's called Let There Be Milk. So this was one of the days I did not take either supplement, and I was extremely low in production. And as you see, the next day I took both, and what a difference it made. And this stuff, if you read the reviews, you have to take this with like water or something else because it is really bitter. There is a lot of things in here that make this super bitter. And obviously some of the foods like oatmeal But there's also some companies out there that make like breast production enhancing cookies, brownies, shakes, things like that. So I can link those below. But yeah, those are my breastfeeding tips. You know, when you're struggling but you want to keep going, just keep that in mind. Breast milk works off of the baby's supply and demand. If the baby is not having it, your production is going to drop. If you're not breastfeeding every couple of hours, your production is going to drop. If you're on birth control, I've heard that your production is lessened, but I don't know if that's like proven. I think I'm trying to think of other myths out there that reduce breast milk, but the main thing is the demand that the baby is feeding. So how often the baby feeds is how often you're going to produce. For me, for some reason, when he stopped actually breastfeeding on the breast, I could not pump. Like, it just wasn't happening. Pumping, I was barely getting an ounce for like 30 minutes. So if you want to keep breastfeeding and you're struggling, just remember, if the baby's on there latching, sucking, even if you're not producing, that stimulates the ducts to keep going. So hopefully that helps you guys. Sorry if it's like TMI, like boobies or whatever, but you know, I wish I always watched breastfeeding tips, because that was like my ultimate goal, is to keep breastfeeding for as long as possible. So I hope this helps you guys, and thanks for watching, even though this was a fun segment. Alright, bye.